Your printer isn't broken. Your phone battery isn't wearing out naturally. And that light bulb that died last month? It was built to do exactly that. Not because the technology can't do better, but because lasting forever is bad for business. It's called planned obsolescence. And once you understand how it works, you'll never look at the stuff you own the same way again. Let's start with the product that literally started this whole concept: light bulbs. In the 1920s, light bulbs commonly lasted around 2,500 hours. Then, in 1924, the world's major light bulb manufacturers, including Philips, Osram, and General Electric, formed a secret cartel called the Phoebus Cartel. Their agreement? Reduce bulb lifespan to exactly 1,000 hours. Any company whose bulbs lasted longer than that was fined. This wasn't a rumor, it was documented. The cartel operated until the 1940s, and its engineering legacy persisted long after. There's a fire station in Livermore, California, with a light bulb that's been burning since 1901. Over 120 years. The technology for long-lasting bulbs existed before the cartel decided it was too profitable to ignore. They made bulbs worse on purpose, and we've been replacing them on schedule ever since. But at least light bulbs are cheap. This next one costs a lot more to replace. Printer ink cartridges are one of the most profitable products ever manufactured. Ink costs about 5 cents per milliliter to produce, but some brands sell it for over $12 per milliliter, making it more expensive per volume than champagne, perfume, and even human blood. But the real trick isn't the price, it's the chip. Modern ink cartridges contain microchips that track page counts and sometimes force the printer to stop working when the chip decides the cartridge is empty, even when there's still ink inside. HP, Canon, and Epson have all faced lawsuits over this. In 2020, HP pushed a firmware update to its printers that disabled third-party ink cartridges, essentially bricking cheaper alternatives. They sold you the printer at a loss. The profit was always in the ink. However, printers are at least obvious about it. This next one is much more subtle. Smartphone batteries. Your phone's battery isn't just wearing out naturally over 2 years. It's designed to do that. Lithium-ion batteries degrade over charge cycles. That's real physics. But manufacturers choose battery sizes, charging protocols, and thermal management systems that optimize for thinness and cost rather than longevity. Apple paid $500 million to settle a class action lawsuit in 2020 after admitting they'd been deliberately throttling older iPhone processors as batteries degraded, making phones feel slow without telling users. The fix was a $29 battery replacement. But most people didn't know that was an option, so they just bought a new $1,000 phone. Samsung and other Android manufacturers have been accused of similar practices. The 2-year upgrade cycle isn't a natural lifespan. It's a design target. And it's not just electronics. This next one affects something you wear every day. Fast fashion clothing is engineered to fall apart. Zara, H&M, and similar brands produce garments with thinner fabrics, weaker stitching, and lower thread counts than clothing from the same price tier 30 years ago. A 2021 study from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation found that the average number of times a garment is worn before being discarded dropped by 36% between 2000 and 2015. This isn't because people got more wasteful. It's because the clothes literally can't survive more washes. Seams are heat bonded instead of stitched. Fabrics pill after 3 wears. Elastic loses tension within months. The design goal isn't durability. It's looking good on the rack and in the fitting room, then falling apart fast enough that you come back next season. But clothing at least shows its wear visibly. This next one fails invisibly, right when you need it. Appliance manufacturers have shortened the lifespan of refrigerators, washing machines, and dishwashers significantly over the past 3 decades. A refrigerator built in the 1970s commonly lasted 25 years. Today's average is about 10 to 13 years. The components haven't gotten worse necessarily, but manufacturers now use cheaper control boards, plastic parts where metal used to be, and sealed compressor units that can't be repaired, only replaced. The sealed unit design is the key move. When a component is sealed and non-serviceable, the manufacturer ensures that any failure requires buying a new appliance rather than a $50 repair. European regulators caught on to this. France passed a repairability index law in 2021, requiring manufacturers to score their products on how easy they are to fix. Several companies scored embarrassingly low. However, at least with appliances, the failure is obvious. This next one breaks in a way you might not even notice. Software updates that slow down old devices. This applies to phones, tablets, laptops, and even smart TVs. When a manufacturer releases a software update designed for newer hardware, running it on older devices can degrade performance significantly. Sometimes this is genuinely about security patches, but sometimes, as Apple proved with the battery throttling scandal, it's about making old hardware feel obsolete. Microsoft's Windows 11 hardware requirements excluded millions of perfectly functional PCs from updating. The requirements included a TPM 2.0 chip that many computers from 2017 and later didn't have, even though they could run the OS perfectly fine. When your device feels slow, you don't usually think, this update wasn't optimized for my hardware. You think, I need a new device. That perception is the product. And speaking of things that stop working on schedule, here's one that's been a legal battle for years. Textbooks. Academic publishers release new editions of textbooks every 3 to 4 years, often with minimal changes. A paragraph gets moved, page numbers get shuffled, homework problems get renumbered. This renders used copies unsellable because the professor's syllabus references the new edition's page numbers. Students who buy last year's version can't follow along. Publishers like Pearson, McGraw-Hill, and Cengage make billions from this cycle. The shift to digital access codes that expire after one semester made it even worse. You're now renting knowledge for $120 a semester with no option to resell. The information in a calculus textbook doesn't change, but the product is designed to expire anyway. Here's the thread connecting all of these. None of these products had to break when they did. The technology exists to make them last longer, but durability is the enemy of revenue. A product that lasts forever is a product you only buy once. So the incentive structure across virtually every consumer industry points in the same direction. Make it work long enough that nobody complains, but short enough that they come back. The question isn't whether planned obsolescence is real. It's proven, documented, and in some cases, legally penalized. The question is what you do once you notice it. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Anyway, that's the list. YouTube thinks you'll like the video on screen right now. And if you made it to the end, subscribe. I've got more coming that'll make you look at everyday products differently.